Hello everyone and welcome back to another Marvel Crisis Protocol Battle Report on a new table. I was going to give Sora a cameo there, but she heard me start talking and left. How rude. Anyway, we're going to have 17 threat for you today of the Wakanda Affiliation, first showing of them on the channel, versus an Avengers setup that you can see before you, but let's take a closer look at both teams and then get started. So here is the entire Wakanda Affiliation with also the Winter Soldier thrown in. So we have T'Challa, the Black Panther, we have Okoye, we have Shuri, we have Killmonger, and then Winter Soldier as stated. The Wakandan affiliation bonus that Black Panther grants them is that when you do an attack, defense, or what's the third roll? Dodge, you can willingly spend 1 power to reroll one of the dice. So that's their faction bonus, and as you can see, their tactics cards, all the Wakandan ones are in here. So Wakanda Forever, Vibranium Shielding, Usurp the Throne, Advanced R&D, although I think that's neutral actually, and Brace for Impact. And just to be confusing, I guess we're going to do the team tactics cards first for the Avengers side. We have Avengers Assemble, we have Second Wind, Ricochet Blast, Patch Up, and Recalibration Matrix. So the ones actually making this an Avengers setup are Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow, but then also just coming along for fun is Spider-Man and also Venom pretending to be a good guy for a change. So these are the two missions we're playing. The 20-threat alien ship crashes downtown, which is the Kree Power Core, which is always fun because you just never roll a crit. And then also the 17th threat, which is the threat level picked. Deadly meteors mutate civilians. Now the interesting thing about both these missions, as a truck reverses outside, is that both of them use map C. So that means they're all on top of each other technically, although we put them side by side. So there's going to be a lot of fighting in 3 very specific sections that we'll take a look at once both sides are deployed. So we're set up and good to go. The Wakandan Affiliation has deployed at this end of the table up to 3, so we've got Black Panther there, Shuri, Okoye, and then Killmonger and Winter Soldier there. The objectives, so the rubble piles to check for the Kree Power Core, you flip it and then there's 1 Power Core in play, and then the Origin Bombs are there, and then, oh, that's a little awkward. Again, set up the table not thinking about how many objectives go in the middle of the map, and then the other ones are there. You have to control an Origin Bomb, and the team with the most Origin Bombs controlled at the end of the turn gets some points. So there's actually not that many points on offer in this one, because it's only 3 to whoever controls the most Origin Bombs, and then it's 2 if you hold the Kree Power Core, and usually it takes a few turns to get found, although this might be the anomaly, I don't know, we'll see. And the Avengers Affiliation, you have Venom and Black Widow, we have Iron Man and Captain America, and then Spider-Man on that far end of the truck there. So now we're going to jump into turn 1 with Wakanda going first. So Black Panther was the first activate for the game, and I guess that's what I get for opening my big mouth, because he did 2 long moves, as he wants to do, because he's fast. He searched for the rubble rather than going for the Origin Bomb, and he found the Kree Power Core. So that is now on Black Panther's card. He is now, well, he's got a target painted on his back. That's not in focus. It doesn't matter, it's the Kree Power Core. It does also mean, I believe, what is it again? He can only move 1 move per turn. When it ends his activation holding the core, it suffers 1 damage if it did not make an attack. So he has just taken 1 damage because he's holding the core and did not make an attack. And yeah, he can only do 1 move action per turn, so it's going to be harder for him to get away, although he moves long, so that's not super tough. Although I guess that's why you get damaged if you don't attack, to encourage you not to run away like a girl, but we'll see as we move on to the Avengers' first activation. So the first activation for the Avengers side was Spider-Man, and he also moves long, so he moved long twice. To get down underneath the metro station, he spent 1 power to claim this Origin Bomb and succeeded, so that is now 1 of the 3 claimed for the Avengers, and it's straight back over to the Wakandans. Is that how you would say that? People from Wakanda are called Wakandans? Probably. Anyway, over to them. Shuri activated and moved forward medium, and then from the angle she has there, as you can see, she can see Spider-Man, so she fired her Panther gauntlets. They are massive range, they're range 5, but the shtick with them is no matter how much damage they do, they get reduced to 1 damage. They do also push, although Spider-Man was against the metro wall there. It's a little dark from this angle, I apologise, but he has taken 1 damage. That's generated Shuri 1 power as well. Spider-Man takes 1 power for the damage, and it's back over to the Avengers. Natasha was the next activate. She moved long round the car, and then over or round, either way it would have reached, to the Origin Bomb down here, and has successfully claimed it despite only having 2 energy defense, because you roll equal to your energy defense, looking for hits, crits and wilds. She claimed it, so that is the majority so far, because Black Panther searched the rubble pile instead. which may or may not work out in the long term. It does put her in a spot of bother because she's obviously close enough that Killmonger and Winter Soldier might be able to get at her, but at the very least the majority of the origin bombs are currently under the Avengers. Okoye was next up, and unfortunately because she only moves medium, she could not get close enough to try and cap the one origin bomb that is unclaimed. That looks quite close, but it is just outside of one, so she can't spend her power to do that. So she's just going to hang there, bank her power. She's close enough that she can bodyguard for Black Panther as well if she needs to. That's kind of what she's for, as far as I'm aware. So with that, it's over to either Cap, Iron Man, or Venom. So Captain America was the next up. He has moved medium twice, and we're going to have to do a pan over here to see where he ended up. He is next to Spider-Man, facing down a lot of people. He's within bodyguard distance as well, and he's guarding that middle origin bomb. Bucky was next up for Wakanda. He moved up medium, and then he used his assault rifle, which does not have a good track record of like doing things, but he did actually manage to land one hit on Natasha, so that is 1 damage to her. She's got 3 HP left, and he generates a power for himself as well from doing damage. And it's now over to Venom or Iron Man. So next up was Venom, but I've just got to show you. Sora. Look, that's how close she is standing next to me. She must really like Venom. He's a slow, chunky gentleman though, so he can't do much. He moves small. He moves small twice to there to back up Black Widow over there, that origin bomb. Couldn't get any closer. So it's over to Killmonger to end the Wakandan turn, and then it's Iron Man for the Avengers. So just going to cover the last 2 activations of Battle Round 1 because they are connected. Killmonger moved forward medium. He moved forward medium twice, spent his power to claim this origin bomb, got what he needed. You roll equal to your energy defense as previously said, but you also have to beat the number of healthy enemy characters also securing, which is Black Widow. At the time he succeeded. Iron Man came in with a double medium move, spent his power to try and claim it back so they still have majority, and he whiffed the roll on his energy defense, so it stayed as a Wakanda claimed origin bomb. And with that we're in the cleanup for Battle Round 1. So the scores at the end of Battle Round 1 are really easy to cover because the origin bombs score nothing. It's only points given to the majority, each side claims 1. If Okoye had made it to the other origin bomb it would have been a majority to the Wakandans, but nope, nothing scored there. So the only points on the board are for Black Panther holding the Kree power core for 2 victory points, and with that we are going into Battle Round 2 with the Wakandans going first again. So the first activation for Battle Round 2 was Killmonger, and he had an amazing turn. It's the best turn I've seen him have without using like Usurp the Throne or anything like that. So he did his normal basic attack of Vibranium weapons on Black Widow. It did 3 damage, which was enough to daze her, so that gave him 1 kill token, and obviously she's not getting a turn. With his other action, because he did 3 damage, he had 3 power, he spent it on his, whatever his other attack is called. I was going to call it Black Ops Strikes, but that's Winter Soldiers, right? Whatever it is, he did the other one, which is physical, on Iron Man. Didn't even need the reroll from having a kill token for dazing someone. He rolled a perfect attack. It did like 8 damage. Some got reduced on defense, and thanks to the Invincible Iron Man rule, 5 damage in the end through to him, generating no power because that attack doesn't generate power, although Iron Man has a ton now. But he got 1 shot, so he is dazed. Neither of them are getting a turn. Killmonger has 2 kill tokens on his card, so he gets to do 2 rerolls on any attacks he makes. And yeah, he had a fantastic turn. So we're sticking down here because Venom wanted to try and even the score a little bit, and he kinda did. So he had to use 1 action to move to get into where he wanted to be, to spend 1 power to try and check the origin bomb. Rolled 2 skulls on his 2 energy defense. Oh, doesn't that mean he gets damaged by 1 as well? I believe it does. I keep forgetting that rule. Thanks for playing digitally, I remembered that one. So he's probably taken 1 damage because he rolled a skull on the roll. Either way, it stays Wakandan Affiliation. So then he just did his basic attack on Killmonger, did really well with the roll, did 4 damage, it bleeds automatically regardless of damage done. So Killmonger's got 2 health left, generated a lot of power, but so did Venom. And he's pretty dangerous if he has a nice bulk of power to counter with. Shuri was next up. She moved once, she spent 1 power to claim this origin bomb, which she succeeded in doing. Then she shot her Panther gauntlets at Spider-Man again just because he already had damage on him from before. She hit him again, apologies for how dark he gets because I'm blocking the light. For 1 damage, he can't get pushed any further because he just hits the wall and pushes don't do collisions, but that is 2 damage on him. She's got a really high success chance with that, which is why it only does reduce damage, but it's a 6 energy attack, which is really good. So, back over to the dwindling number of Avengers who are getting a turn this turn. Captain America activated next, and he decided to charge in to try and get towards the origin bombs, although people were in the way. So he moved to where you can see him with his first action. His second action was to spend 2 power on a shield slam on Okoye, because she'd probably just end up bodyguarding anyway. Did 2 damage, plus getting the wild to push her back. Actually, I don't even remember if it needs the wild. Nope, doesn't need the wild. So she got pushed into the... she got thrown. Thrones do collisions. So she took an extra damage from hitting the car, for a total of 3 out of the 4 HP she has on her healthy side. So she stayed standing. So next up was a very impressive turn for Black Panther. Wakanda Forever was played first, and this is a new card for the channel. Any number of Wakandan allied characters that may spend 1 power to play this card. Each character that's spent power this way may immediately perform an attack that has a cost of 0. Okoye, Black Panther and Shuri all gave up 1 power. So it started with a spear stab from Okoye, did 2 damage, oops, as I knocked the car. Black Panther then did his basic strike, which has knockback on it, for 2 more damage, and then at that point Cap wanted to just bank his power for his wounded side and was willing to take the 1 damage from Shuri. Shuri rolled very badly on her Panther Gauntlet strike and did nothing to him. So he's on 1 HP remaining as we go over to Spider-Man only. Yeah, just Spider-Man. So we're staying over here because Spider-Man was the last activation as previously stated, and he had a pretty good turn. He moved once long to where you can see him as I block the light again. It's very awkward with the scenery in the middle. What was I thinking when I set this up in there? Anyway, he did a web snare on Okoye to pick her up and throw her into Black Panther, so it's an automatic 1 damage to her, which was enough to daze her. Black Panther whiffed on his dodge and took 2 damage. She only had 1 block. And then afterwards, Spider-Man did impact webbing, which I just realised should have pushed him back as well, I think. Or no, wait, no, that needs a wild to do that, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. So 2 damage from the impact of Okoye smacking him, 1 from the actual impact webbing. Black Panther is on, I think he's got 1 HP left? No, he has 2 HP. He's a little bit tankier. So he's still conscious. Okoye was going to get a turn, but now she's dazed, so she doesn't. So for the Wakandan side, it's just straight over to the Winter Soldier to end the turn. So it was the Winter Soldier to end off Battle Round 2, which does mean the Avengers will be going first in turn 3, and they really do need it. So the Winter Soldier, he moved medium over here. He's clearly going for the middle objective under the table there. He took an assault rifle shot at Venom and whiffed with any damage. Venom then spent the power to do so many snacks to give a counterattack, and also spent the power for We Are Venom, which did a pretty good 3 damage and also healed the 1 damage that was on Venom from his failure to turn the origin bomb. So that was a net loss for the Winter Soldier, but he's positioning himself better for the next round. And with that, we're into the cleanup. So the end of Battle Round 2, the Wakandans are absolutely running away with it. They still have the Kree Power Core for 2 victory points, which would put them up to 4, but they also have majority of the origin bombs because they claim the 2 side ones. The Avengers own the central one, but Wakanda has the majority, and that is 3 victory points. So currently it's 7-0 as we go into Battle Round 4 with the Avengers going first. Okoye, Ironman and Black Widow have all flipped their cards. Cap is 1 away from flipping his card, which is nasty. Let's see if they can start pulling this back. So the first activation of Battle Round 3 was Spider-Man, and usually that would not be the first choice, but he did pretty well. He leapt over, or round, whichever way you prefer, with his first action. Then he spent 2, not 3, because of a day unlike any other, to web a Bolt Shuri into Black Panther. He and she both took 1 damage as a result of that. Then he just did a basic strike, which did really well, and did 4 damage. It only needed to do 2, or even 1, I've forgotten now, and Black Panther was dazed. The basic strike also generated him a couple more power. He spent 1 of them to try and change the origin bomb, now only having to beat 2, which is a little hard when you're only rolling 3, granted, and he failed. So it stays Wakandan Affiliation, but Black Panther will not be getting a turn. Oh, sorry, and it's, as an addition, totally forgot to mention, Black Panther obviously dropped the Kree Power Core. The other power that Spider-Man generated was spent to pick that up, so he's got it on his person currently. So we're staying over here. Shuri was the first to activate this turn, and she also managed to get a double daze, so she's on par with Killmonger, I guess? So first of all, she just did a basic Panther Gauntlet strike on Captain America. He got shoved back as a result. He took the 1 damage he needed to be stunned. He could have technically Vibranium shielded, but he's better on his other side, so it kind of had to happen. Then she did Sonic Crush with her Panther Gauntlets, which is actually kind of dangerous. It guarantees a stun, but it doesn't matter. It did 4 damage to Spider-Man. It only needed to do 3, so he is unconscious. He dropped the core. Shuri has picked it up. By the way, if you're wondering why Okoye didn't bodyguard for Black Panther, that was a numbers play to make sure that more people still standing were surrounding the Black Panthers gained origin bomb, or sorry, meteorite, whichever. Well, it's an origin bomb. To make sure it was hard to convert. And with vibranium armor, it was very unlikely that Spider-Man was going to do a lot of damage, although obviously he did. But either way, they're still definitely holding it this turn because the only two people that can stop them are now unconscious. So it's now over to Iron Man, Black Widow, or Venom. So it isn't just the Wakandan affiliation that can do double knockouts, because Iron Man had a great turn there. On his wounded side, he of course has access, that's the word, access to Unibeam, his big blast, his range 5 area beam thing. So anyway, he first of all tried to turn the origin bomb for 1 power, he did. He moved as his first action, fired the beam as his second. Now it does catch Black Widow because it's 5, but if you hit an ally with a beam, it just does a set 1 damage. So she is taking 1 damage. He did 3 damage to both Killmonger and Winter Soldier, and in both cases he only needed to do 2, so they are both dazed. He did also burn, like I think it was 4 power for Unibeam, and then also 3 down to 2 or 2 down to 1 for Friday AI, so he spent all the power on him from getting dazed in the previous turn, plus the 1 from the power phase, to do that, but it was worth it. So now that means, I think it's just Okoye? Yeah, it's just Okoye, and then straight back over to either Venom or Black Widow. So Okoye went for a little bit of a Hail Mary, did 2 medium moves to get close enough to the origin bomb under the metro station there in the middle, to do a check on it, to see if she could claim it with no people around her to get in the way, but she actually managed to fail it. So, it's now over to Venom and Black Widow. There's not much they can do. Okoye is going to be the only potential target because everyone else is dazed, so we'll be back after their activations, I guess. So we're just going to cover those 2 activations now. Venom was the first to activate. He moved around small to where you can see him, then he spent his power on a web snare. Remember, his is more potent than Spider-Man's. He pulled Okoye right smack dab in front of him. He did a basic strike and whiffed, although it's still proc to bleed regardless of whether or not it does damage. Then Black Widow activated. She stayed where she was. She shot her pistols twice. First time, utter whiff. Second time, astonishingly good for a 4 dice attack. 3 damage. So Okoye is on 1 hit away from being killed. And with that, that takes us to the end of Battle Round 3. It will be the Wakandan side going first in Battle Round 4. So there was finally a bit of a point split, and the Avengers got on the table as they own the central and right origin bombs, so that gives them 3 victory points. But Shuri is the one currently holding the Kree Power Core for another 2 victory points, so the Wakandans are still rocketing ahead. And obviously, Captain America, Black Panther, Spider-Man, Winter Soldier, and Killmonger are all flipping their cards over. So with that, let's get into Battle Round 4. So the first one to activate in Battle Round 4 was Okoye. She spent 6 power in total, she was sitting on like 9, to do 2 Vibranium Spear Thrusts on Iron Man just to try and take him out. Fully aware that she's probably going down as soon as someone can retaliate against her. All said and done, she only did 3 damage to him, and that was including a bonus strike from getting a wild on one of them. But that does put him at 2 away from dying, or 3. But she did not get rid of the bleed because she did 2 actions, so the bleed has actually removed her. So she is gone, but she did almost take out Iron Man. I'm sure Winter Soldier or Killmonger can probably finish the job. But for now, it's over to the Avengers for their first activation. Venom was next up. He did 2 basic strikes on Killmonger, the second of which did 3 damage, which also gave him enough power to use Clintar Rage to pick up Killmonger and chuck him into a barrel. So all said and done, Killmonger has taken 4 damage. He's sitting on 10 power and is 2 away from death, but he is going to have to close the gap now, which hopefully will make a bit of a difference for them. So Killmonger activated and of course used Usurp the Throne. So this is when he spends 3 power. He gets 2 extra attack dice if he's hitting the person on the opposing team worth the most threat, and if he kills them he gets 2 victory points. He went after Venom. He did a charge, so he did a move and then a Vibranium Weapons, which is energy, and Venom is weak to energy. He only did 3 damage, and then with the power from that attack, Venom did a counter attack with a basic strike and did 2 damage to Killmonger. So before he could do his other action, because it's after the first attack is resolved that Venom can activate so many snacks, Killmonger got himself killed by the counter, and Usurp the Throne did not get them the extra victory points. So we're back over this end of the table for Spider-Man's activation, and first of all he tried to convert the Origin Bomb and succeeded, so all 3 are currently under the Avengers' control. Then he spent power to do Webapult to throw the other one. No, that is the one where he throws something. He threw Shuri against the car for 1 damage, then he did 2 basic strikes. Oh, and also remember the throw was 1 cheaper because of a day unlike any other. Both basic strikes, all said and done, did 3 damage. It only needed to do 2. Shuri is dazed and she has dropped the core, but Spider-Man has no power left to pick it up, so it's on the car there to force Black Panther to chase it down. Speaking of which, it's either him or the Winter Soldier next. So of course we're staying over here in Black Panther Activate. First of all, he spent 2 power on a pounce to get him on top of the car, to spend 1 to pick up the power core, so he's holding it. Then he had to do a move action to get close enough to smack Spider-Man. He just did a basic strike, it did 1 damage. He then spent power to try and convert the core there, the origin bomb, and didn't do it. So it's staying Avengers affiliated, and now it's over to, who hasn't gone yet? Captain America, Iron Man, and Black Widow. Iron Man activated and he did a move action so that he was contesting the middle one to make it harder to claim back, because the Winter Soldier is going to have to go for one of the 2. And then he just did a repulsor blast and didn't do any damage, didn't get through. So no damage to the Winter Soldier. And speaking of which, it is over to him for the final activation for Wakanda this turn. Then the Avengers still have 2 left after that. So the Winter Soldier activated Red Fury to charge in against Black Widow, did 3 damage to her. She is gone. So that meant that he was free to only need 1 success to claim this origin bomb, which he got, so that is under control. But that is it. So now it's over to, well, Black Widow was going to get a turn, but she isn't now. So it's over to Captain America. So there wasn't much for Cap to do. He moved forwards and then did a shield slam on Black Panther for 1 damage, and that was all he could do. So that takes us to the end of Battle Round 4 and the cleanup phase. So as we prepare to go into Battle Round 5, the Kree Power Core is still in the possession of, well, the Wakandans via Black Panther now. So that's 2 victory points scored there. The Avengers have majority on the origin bombs, 2 versus 1. For 3 victory points, which puts it currently on 11 to Wakanda and 6 to the Avengers, which kind of feels insurmountable, but at the same time, the Wakandan side don't have many people left. Although obviously Black Widow is down for the Avengers, but Okoye and Killmonger are gone. Shuri's on her weak side and she doesn't have much HP. If Black Panther does manage to go down, that would be very bad. However, he is pretty tanky. So we'll see as we go into Battle Round 5 with the Wakandan side going first. So Shuri was the first to activate and she did a Sonic Crush on Spider-Man, which did 2 damage and a stun or stagger, whichever one it is, where he has to do his first action to get rid of it. And without a choice, so he's only going to get 1 action essentially. Then she just did her normal Panther Gauntlets for an additional 1 damage. He has 1 damage on him already, which I think leaves him on, yeah, he's got 1 left. And now it's over to the Avengers' first activation. So Spider-Man activated in retort. His first action had to be to get rid of the stats effect. Then he did the superpower to throw Shuri into Black Panther. Shuri takes 1 damage automatically. Black Panther failed his dodge badly and took 2 damage. He only blocked 1 hit of it. Then he spent 1 or 2 on Taste Webs, which did 1 damage and the stun effect. Whichever one it is that Spider-Man did not have. Stagger and stun are forever swapped in my head. And with that, it's over to Black Panther or Winter Soldier. So it's very awkward that a lot of the action has happened over here, but Black Panther activated and he did his explosive kinetic burst, sunk 3 extra power into it, but didn't get any wild, so it didn't cause the explosion anyway. He did 1 damage to Spider-Man, which was enough to actually remove him, so he is gone. And then he kept his stats effect on him. That is the one where if you would gain more than 1 power, you'd gain just 1 power. He then tried to do a basic strike on Captain America with his other action, didn't manage it, spent 1 power to try and convert the origin bomb and failed. Venom activated and moved in close next to the Winter Soldier, checked the origin bomb and did convert it. Then he just did a basic strike and managed to do pretty well with it, did 3 damage. The Winter Soldier's got 2 left, I think 2 or 3 left. And speaking of which, it has to be his turn next because there's no one else for the Wakandan side. So the Winter Soldier did a Red Fury, kind of whiffed on it, and all said and done did 2 damage, leaving Venom with 2 left, I think, 5 out of 7. Venom spent the 2 power he took from the damage to counterattack, and the counterattack did 1 damage. He still has 1 or 2 left. Yeah, he has 2 left. He has 6 HP on his wounded side. So with that though, it's down to Iron Man and Captain America to do whatever they like. I'm not sure if they'll just stay still. I guess we'll be back in a second to check. So we're just going to cover the final 2 activations for the Avengers side for Battle Round 5. Iron Man has moved himself slightly to be within homing missiles range. He shot them at Black Panther, did 1 damage and also got the explosion, so Shuri took 1 damage and so did Captain America. That was it for his turn. Captain America did a shield slam on Black Panther, It did 3 damage, it only needed to do 1 or 2. Black Panther is gone, dropped the power core, which Captain America has picked up. So that takes us to the cleanup for the penultimate battle round. So at the end of that battle round, there's a lot of casualties on both sides, but the Avengers have the majority of the origin bombs and they also have the Kree power core, which means they get the full 5 possible victory points, and that puts both sides even on 11 as we go into what has to be the final turn. And it's been a bloodbath, and in turn 6 it will be Wakanda going first, and Wakanda is down to Shuri and Winter Soldier. So of the 2 possible choices, Shuri activated and she tried to convert the origin bomb and succeeded. Then she shot her Panther gauntlets, can't speak anymore, at Captain America. Didn't do any damage, but it still does the push regardless, so he got shoved back small. And that's it. So we'll see what happens as we go over to the Avengers' first activation. Ironman activated, moved up once, then did a Friday AI for 2 instead of 3 because of the Avengers Affiliation, and shot his repulsor blast at Shuri, did 4, only needed to do 2. She is gone. So now the Wakanda Affiliation is only represented by someone who isn't from Wakanda. And that does also mean obviously she's not there to contest, but it will be down to Captain America getting over there and hopefully rolling well to claim it. But for now it's over to the Winter Soldier for the final activation for Wakanda of the game. So Bucky did Wakanda proud with his final activation. He did another Red Fury on Venom, did 3 damage, and that was enough to take Venom out. So, well, he's dazed, he's not dead because he wasn't on his wounded side, but he's not going to get a turn, and this is the last turn, so for all intents and purposes, Venom is done, which means that origin bomb is safe. And interestingly, that means it literally just comes down to whether or not Captain America, his activation, move, whatever, is next to the origin bomb. It's purely down to whether or not he can convert that origin bomb, so on 4 dice, he needs to get at least 1 hit, crit, or wild. It is not impossible that he will fail this, but let's see. He almost did. He also takes 1 damage, but it doesn't matter because he succeeded. This origin bomb changed to Avengers, and that does mean at the end of battle round 6, the power core is still with Captain America, who would also take a damage point because he did not attack. That isn't enough to kill him though. The damage point from that plus a damage point from rolling the skull there, he had 3 left. So that gives them 2, and then the 3 would take them to the 16 needed to win regardless. But if it hadn't have converted, they would have only got 2, and Wakanda would have got 3 and would have won by 1 point. But either way, that was a very, very violent match. We'll be back with the final thoughts. So I think that was the most bloody in terms of fatalities match of Crisis Protocol ever seen on this channel. All in all said, that was 4 on one side and 2 on the other, and then all the people left alive, 1, 2, 3 on their wounded side. No, Captain America was as well. Was there anybody on their healthy side? No, because Venom flipped right at the end, and so did Shuri. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's the thing, Shuri shouldn't have been removed, she was on her healthy side. But again, because it was the final turn, it's irrelevant, because once you're dazed, you're not counting as on the table anyway. So because there wasn't a turn 7, she was effectively dead. But yeah, at the end of the game then, if there wasn't a magical turn 7, Venom would have flipped, Shuri would have flipped. Everybody would have been dead or on the wounded side. That's never happened before. The Wakanda Affiliation is really powerful. Wakanda Forever is a fantastic tactics card. Didn't see much use from their affiliation bonus, which is a bit... I guess in cooperation with like Wakandan R&D, it could have been better. But power wasn't an issue for the Wakandans in this match. They were wrecking face. Just got unlucky with some of the defensive rolls. They were way ahead at the start, victory points wise as well. The Avengers team was very lucky, I think. At the end of the day, it was luck. Venom being as tanky as he can be when he can counter and get HP back was a big help. He should have went down a turn earlier if it wasn't for his healing. So anyway, yes, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned in the future for more content on the game and some unboxings, hopefully. I think, fingers crossed, can I actually show my literal fingers crossed? Kind of, I'm trying to hold the camera here. Literal fingers crossed, I think I finally found and sourced the Guardians of the Galaxy. You heard it here first, we shall see. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to stay safe where you are, and see you next time. Stop for now.